Bert is going to be talking about really closing new customers. And that's something obviously all of us do, we're all good at, but it's something that he is really taken to such a different level in the last year or two. Guys, top people never say I already know that. So I'm going to encourage and challenge y'all, get every single ounce of this that you can out of it. And they're all yours, Bert. Kit, take it away, buddy.
We got that Italian connection. I'm in this AD. I'm bringing the person's name is Jamira. So I've got the Pink Panther to help me out on today's call. I've also got another stuffed animal here. I've also got Minnie Mouse. So we're going to vibe. It's going to be a freaking call. I'll tell you what. I got Olivia Kinzer in the next room next to me as well. So hopefully she doesn't wake up. Sorry, Seth and Kelly. We're going to deliver some goods. All right, guys, it's an honor to be the first person to kick off some content on the call. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be able to be given this message today. Again, I can't really say that I'm like all of the things that I learned from so many people on this call have gotten me to the point where I'm at today. Where the demo is, where my scripts are, it has a lot to do with the people that have come way before me that I've just taken time to study and just taken time to write down and appreciate and just put into practice. So today, before we start talking about new customer scripts, I thought it'd be helpful to kind of briefly mention some stuff that I've been pretty intentional with as far as like habits over the last like few years, specifically with getting better, specifically at the new customer script and also like cookware, flatware, other things in the business. So like Josh mentioned, I challenge you guys all throughout this call to stay humble and hungry, but to also just really take a look at your skill set, your scripts. It's something that I think we all have areas of opportunity in our business. And I feel like it's something that you're never like, I always say like something I tell, again, our team and also just friends in the business, right? It's just like, I'm never necessarily satisfied and therefore I'm happy, right? So I'm always craving doing something else and adding something else to my scripts because I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm going to screw things up, but I'm not afraid to continue to try adding and implementing new things that are working within the business. So there was a Harvard business review that I read a few years ago that was written back in 2012 with 7 quick habits that will help you guys implement new scripts and implement new lines, things like that. Because I think in this business, one of the biggest struggles that we have specifically with the new customer pitch is that we've done the same thing so many times that to actually break out of the habits and implement new ones, it's one of the hardest things that we do because we're just so used to saying the same things over and over. All right, so first things first, check your readiness. Are you ready and are you open to actually learning a new skill, new phrasing, new like script, new anything, right? Are you actually ready? And are you asking yourself, are the things that you want to do attainable, right? And also how much energy can you put into that before you start attacking, getting better at a new script or a new phrase, okay? Make sure it's needed. So is your script in a good place or does it have area for opportunity in any area of the business? Know how to learn best, right? How do you guys learn best? I'm a big fan of learning visually. If I hear something audible, it usually just goes here and one out the next because I'm usually doing something else while I'm listening to something and I don't retain information very well. So some of us learn best at looking at scripts or listening to scripts, but figure out what that is for you guys and start doing that more often. I would challenge you that listening while reading and then verbalizing it and then listening to yourself is one of the best ways that you can memorize and start implementing new things. Get the right help. Who's the best at the new customer script? Who's the best at packages? Who's the best at upserving? Who's the best at kitchens, business gifts? Reach out to those people. Ask what they're doing. Start small. All right. It's okay to feel overwhelmed when you're like trying to just rework a whole script. I've been there. I've been there over the last 2.5 years. It's very overwhelming at first. Take it in, right? Take in the small things. Understand that it's okay to just insert one new line during your next approach. One new line is progress. Also be aware to reflect along the way. Okay, when you guys are trying to like do something different, track yourself, reflect. Like, hey, like something that I appreciate so much today. I'm working with Liz Pataki, obviously Luciano's wife at the booth, and something that she's done this year. She's tracking every single ultimate she sells, and she sold 24 ultimates this year. She's got them on a note. I love that. I think that's amazing. I haven't sold 24 ultimates this year, and I'm not tracking it. So I'm like, that's a good idea. I love it. Right? So start doing the things and reflect along the way on your progress. Okay. Challenge yourself to teach it to others. I think literally, Brian, I appreciate the kind words. I've just been given a platform to try to teach this stuff. And it's honestly, it's a gift. And I think that's literally one of the reasons why I've gotten better at it. So take things that you're putting into practice, guys, within the new customer script and start just teaching it to other people within your team, within your division, your friends, your like whoever's a part of your circle. Just start teaching it to people. Practice it. The best way to practice is by teaching it, right? By teaching the whys behind what you're doing. It's a beautiful thing. And last but not least, just be patient. Okay. Too often, this was in the article, too often we approach a new skill with the attitude that we should nail it right out of the gate. The reality is it takes much longer. It's not going to happen overnight. It usually takes 6 months or more for people to develop a new skill. So again, one of those things is look at the people around you. Again, you usually will only know 10% of every 100% that you change. A wild process, right? It's not going to happen overnight. Again, the overnight success takes 10 years. Appreciate things in the new customer script. It's going to take time, and that's all right. All right, here we go. Here are your hotter than hell's back kitchen new customer nuggets. All right, let's do this thing. All right, so my goals today: active learning path, activate your learning pathways for tactical approaches on actually how to get better at each interaction that you have. Share some common themes that are helpful within the new customer script. I also want to share some common areas of opportunity that I believe everybody has in new customer script, and then share a couple of key phrasing and nuggets that I believe will help you close faster, position better, and also have a higher average order. Okay, so we're going to accomplish a lot in the next 25 minutes. All right, so first things first, goals of the demo. You want to build quick trust. You want to bring awareness to all of the Cutco products, and you want an easy yes when you ask for the order. Okay. In a perfect world, all 4 of those things get checked off. And if you look at all of your big orders, right? Your big orders, $1,000 plus orders, usually you build quick trust. You're making them laugh quickly. Their understanding of why it's so expensive. They know that we sell a lot of stuff. And they're also like, yeah, that just makes sense. Right? In a perfect world, I want you to picture that interaction in your head and what are the things that have led to those things. So for me, the basic order of operations for a new well-scripted customer demo is you're asking good qualifying questions, you're cutting leather quickly, you're giving a brief history of Cutco and yourself, you're transitioning into the guarantee, you're giving guarantee examples, you're positioning the 3 sets well and the kitchen well, you're giving a great price comparison on why we cost what we cost, you're asking for the order, what I call is Jedi style, you're bringing it all together, and if needed, of course, you need to drop down. Okay. So before I jump into the specifics of the demo, okay, it's really easy to get lulled into saying words that are not actually helping your demo. Okay. I think this is a common theme that we all have, right? And we're all guilty of it. I know I have. So what I challenge you all to do before we even get started today is put 15 minutes into your schedule to record yourself as you are right now with your new customer script. I want you to imagine if you're talking to a grade A client. And I want you to listen to yourself. Are you bumbling and stumbling over words and phrases you think you should be adding, or you know you should be adding, but you don't have the discipline yet to actually say those things in the way that they're supposed to be said or saying them at all? Right? Like I'm still trying to get better at Luciano's power intro to the kitchen. And I still find myself forgetting key phrases and lines that he has said. Because Luciano talks so damn fast when he's talking to customers, it's wild. But customers just hear it, and he just kind of repeats himself enough times where people are like, yes, the kitchen makes sense. Now, I'm still struggling with those things, and it's all right for me to struggle with his analogies that he uses and all the how he just elegantly paints the idea of a kitchen, right? I still forget the lines, I still forget some phrasing, and that's all right because I'm just a work in progress. All of us are just a work in progress. So I want you to take a minute to reflect on some of the things that you're doing currently in your demo so you can actually be aware of, you're like, cool, that area of my opportunity within the price comparison or the intro to myself has a huge area of opportunity. What in the world am I doing? Why am I not saying something about why I'm here in front of these people? Whatever it is for you, the only way to be honest with yourself is to actually listen to yourself. Because I can promise you, every
thoughts. There you go. You're back, Bert. Now we got you.
God. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm sorry. They can think our Wi-Fi is okay. Sorry about that. So I can promise you that everybody believes that they sound some way, right? They believe that they sound like they think they hear themselves. but when you actually listen to yourself back, I can promise you probably don't exactly sound exactly the way you think you sound. Right? And that was very repetitive. I apologize. Got totally thrown out of my train of thought there. Sorry for the pause. That was an absolute power pause. I'm working on that in my demo too. All right. So what I want to do first is I just want to reflect on some things that I've specifically noticed over this last year that have helped me, but also some areas of opportunity that I'm listening to other people on, some areas that I think implemented, they will immediately help you guys start selling more to new customers. Okay. So first things first, things that I've noticed that have made a big difference. The intentionality behind mentioning all of the packages early and often to new customers, even if they've never heard of Cutco. Okay. Luciano's about to deliver the goods on this. And again, I will probably bumble and stumble over my words trying to repeat the things that Luciano is about to say in about 25 minutes. So I'm not even going to try to mention all of the things that Luciano is about to give us the goods on. However, what I have noticed, even though I am not perfect at mentioning all of these amazing phrases that Luciano uses, I am still intentional about mentioning that we have cookware, flatware, and knives and kitchen accessories that take care of everything in the kitchen. Okay. Just mentioning those big 4 packages, right? And making them aware that the Cutco kitchen, which by the way, another huge thing is just to have the Cutco kitchen pamphlet laid out. Shout out to Josh. I just got to see and Amy Vast Action, the $16,000 thing. I don't have it yet. I haven't purchased it from you guys yet. I'm probably going to purchase it soon. 16,000 freaking dollars. It's like, bam, holy buckets. That's a lot of money for freaking Cutco, right? 20 grand retail on sale for $16,000, right? Having that out, just mentioning that in the Cutco kitchen example is just raising the expectations for how expensive our stuff is. That's it. Again, you're going to have 1 out of 1,000 customers like, oh my God, $16,000. Are you nuts? Yeah, Mrs. Jones, that's for everything that we make, right? It's literally a kitchen remodel cost for all of the tools that you're using in the kitchen, right? And don't back down. Don't be scared of that. It's okay. It's everything, Mrs. Jones. Not everybody gets everything. This is what everyone works towards, but it's not what everybody gets right away, and that's okay, right? Now you're going to have the other percentage of people just be like, holy cow, that's a lot, right? And that's all right. But the goal is to just raise that expectation. Again, if you do anything from this call, guys, just mention the idea that we have everything and have a cost of everything out to just raise the expectations of what we can cost. I can promise you, just doing that alone will raise your average order. Okay? Again, a great analogy that you can use right away is like, yeah, Mrs. Jones, are you familiar with the Apple, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with Apple, right? They have the iPhone and that's their staple, but they sell things like MacBooks. They sell things like iPads, right? They sell things like the actual Mac, right? Just like the Mac actual like computer, right? It's like they've got everything. You don't need everything, but everything syncs together. It's the exact same thing with Cutco, right? So imagine in 20 years, you grab out your skillet and it still cooks burgers evenly, right? Imagine in 25 years, you break out your settings of flatware and you realize you want 4 more settings and you can buy 4 matching settings because it never changes. And you grab out your bread knife in 17 years and it still cuts bread like the day you got it, right? Just analogies. They're simple. They're not hard, right? But use something that you're familiar with and just share that with the customers. Okay. Next thing that I've noticed that has been something that has been huge within my new that I believe is a huge opportunity for everyone is just intentional questions, mentioning again at the beginning of the demo, right? To help people purchase today and not later, right? This is a combo of hyper intentionality for myself, but I also noticed that reps are not necessarily as intentional at the beginning of the demo. So again, something that I basically, again, the verbiage, excuse me, is something that I use every single time. Are you familiar with Cutco? No, no worries. Are you in the market for some good kitchen stuff? Tailor the next question towards whatever they're staring at the booth. If they come and start gripping knives from your ultimate set, or they start picking up pans or flatware from your box of beauty, tailor it towards that, right? So something like, cool, like, are you kind of looking at everything? Are you kind of looking for knives? Are you kind of looking for flatware, pots and pans, kitchen gadgets, whatever it is, right? Whatever they're kind of looking at, I use the question, cool, what brand do you currently have right now? They'll usually say something crappy, it sticks, or they're dull all the time, or they're just not sharp anymore. Gotcha. How are they treating you? Double down on that question. I'll get to why in a second. Not good. Pretty frustrating. They're dull all the time. Everything sticks. Everything burns. Everything's rusting. Blah, 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 blah. Wow, sounds pretty frustrating. Must be really annoying to have eggs stick on a pan that they said it's not going to stick. Or it must be pretty frustrating to have to, when you cut a tomato, you just create salsa, right? They're like, yeah, exactly. Okay, well, cool. I'm curious. Do you like buying high quality American-made products? Yeah, cool. And who does most of the cooking in the kitchen? Me. Awesome. So we found something that you like. This is your wheelhouse. Uh-huh. Awesome. Can I show you how sharp they are? Or can I show you why our pans are amazing? Or can I show you why our flatware is the best in the business? Boom. Your job at the beginning of the demo, guys, is to create and help them vocalize the reason that they're standing in front of you in the first place. I'll repeat it again. Your job at the beginning of the demo is to create and help them vocalize the reason they are standing in front of you in the first place. In my opinion, this gets glossed over at the beginning because you end up rushing through at the end of the demo. By the end of the demo, you get the response of, oh, I don't really care that much about kitchen stuff, or I don't really need kitchen stuff, right? Or I don't really need this, or I don't really want it. Do you have a card? We'll come back later. There needs to be pain. It has to be your job to create the pain, vocalize the pain, and then solve the pain over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, that's your job. And by asking intentional questions at the beginning of the demo, you are helping yourself get to the bottom of the root of why they're in front of you so you can tailor this demo to exactly what they need. So by asking questions first, guys, you are doing the thing that allows you to listen to actually create the best demo. Okay? Now, here are some common mistakes I've noticed that I feel like are huge areas of opportunity within the new customer script. You guys are probably using too many wow factors too close together. Okay, you are using too many wow factors in too short a period of time. There are too many people that smash leather, guarantee, testimonials, Cutco, penny, bam, 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 bam. It's like, holy buckets, here's Cutco in a nutshell in 75 seconds. And it's just a lot, okay? There's an art to the sales pitch. Whether you're at a quick event where you don't have that much time, or you're at a place where you have the ability to draw out a longer presentation, drawing out the wows that we have help let them settle and resonate, allow you to build the crescendo at the end of a demo of where it just makes sense for a person to say, that sounds like a great idea, let's do this, right? So the Jedi trick that I've learned from Kareem, I know Luciano uses this, I know Seth uses this, I know I use this, I'm pretty sure Josh and a lot of other people on the call are using this. Save the penny until after you quote prices. It's the best thing that has ever happened, right? I see people that cut the penny right away, or they keep a penny that's already cut out, right? And I'm like, guys, you're just giving it away, right? You're giving away one of the easiest value builders to our product. Now, again, remember, guys, we cut the penny at the beginning of the demonstration when we're new. And the reason why is we suck when we're new. And we need something for a customer to be like, holy buckets, this is ridiculous. Every single one of you guys call is absolutely talented beyond measure at selling Cutco. You don't need to cut a penny early. Okay. I believe getting the impact of wow, of leather, and guarantee early is a great thing because those are staples that we stand behind. We're sharp as hell and we stand behind what we sell. Those are really two big things that are great to put at the beginning of the demo, right? The penny, save it. You get through the prices, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay. Once you get through the prices, it's like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Let me show you the quality of the steel. Do you guys ever use the scissors around the house? Oh, absolutely. Right. So these will cut through chicken bone. I've had customers cut metal shingles. You'll cut paper, plastic, and cardboard too. They're everything in the kitchen and outside the kitchen scissors. Right. Now, I've actually kept track and I pull out my roll of pennies. Also, a little nugget, keep a roll of pennies. And I would also recommend keeping track of how many pennies you cut because I have kept track over the last 12 years and 11 months of how many pennies I've cut. I've cut through 13,400 and there'll be 50 pennies after this next roll. And I've never sent my scissors in for sharpening. And I cut a penny, they're loose as hell. but I cut a penny and then I cut a little piece of the little roll of penny off and I cut paper after. I'm like, I've cut through 13,450 pennies. It'll be 50 pennies after this roll. And they still cut paper. And they're like, what? And this is after they just saw the price of Cutco for the first time. If they're even remotely close to being on the edge of like, honey, these are worth it, I can guarantee you that will push them over the edge. Okay. Next thing that I see often, too often, is pride gets in the way and ego gets in the way. We are all very good salespeople, but sometimes our ego gets in the way and we do not listen and we do not show the smaller option to customers fast enough where they leave. Okay. I see too many people not listening to customers and having their ego get in the way. I'm like, I got to sell the big set. Okay. Show them the smaller package when you notice visible uneasiness from the customer. If a person turns their side, crosses their arms, look at them, guys. If they are doing these things, usually it's because they are uncomfortable with either the price or the knives. And it's more often than not the price. And it's okay. A galley with the free shears, guys, is still just under 1,000 CPO. Right? I will challenge all of the people on this call, right? There are so many people. Curtis sells more than any of us, and he has an average order at a booth, which is like $500 to $600. But he sells and sold, as far as event reps go, over $200,000, which he made $100,000 more than the next closest person that was selling at events as full-time as Curtis was last year. It's not an accident. And Curtis still has a ton of $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 orders, but he closes more of the $500 to $800 orders than anybody in the business, and that is why Curtis is what he is. He also has a customer base of 20,000 effing customers. It's tough to be Curtis. Okay, so get out of your own lane. Show the smaller option. Average order is great. I'll die on this hill. Luciano, I'm about to see you in 2 seconds. I love you to death. Average order is amazing, but meet the customer where they're at. Sometimes they need to be shown the smaller option, show it faster. Okay. Next thing, not having a consistent pitch with other packages. I see so many people try to sell cookware and it is all over the place. Right. They forget the staples, like the vapor seal. They forget to show the videos, like them making an omelet and it sliding out of a pan. They forget to show how easy they are to clean. They forget to just simply teach people how to use the cookware. They just bumble over themselves saying they're guaranteed forever, just like the knives are amazing. They don't have chemical coatings. They're the best. Remember that finding quality consistency within your scripts, you will find steady consistency growing your sales and your average order. Finding quality consistency within your scripts, you will find steady consistency, growing your sales and your average order. Okay, be disciplined in your scripts. Next thing, not cutting leather soon enough. Remember that when you hear the history of Cutco, it lands, but after they've been impressed by a physical demonstration, it blows their mind. I had the pleasure, guys, of selling without knives for the first time last week, and I got kicked in the absolute teeth. I sold $3,000 in 5 days at an embassy in Rome. Okay. I got kicked in the face. I texted Brian, I texted Curtis, and I texted Calvin. I was like, what in the hell do you guys do at the Houston Rodeo to even sell anything at the damn booth? I was like, I don't even understand. Now, don't get me wrong. It was comically slow, so that didn't help matters. But there was cutting with Cutco, guys, is the best thing ever. It has just been the biggest relief in the world this week, being able to cut leather. Okay. It is an incredible gift that we have at 99.9% of the events that we do. Cut it soon, cut it often, and don't forget to cut it early. Okay. Remember that when they see a physical demonstration of how ridiculously sharp our knives are, everything that they hear after the fact just lands bigger. Okay. Not forget to cut leather with a straight edge. Okay. I get to the showing of the ultimate pieces and I take my vegetable knife and I cut with the straight edge. And they're just like, oh my God, that's the most amazing thing ever. And they already remember how amazingly sharp the serrated, AKA double D knives are. It's amazing. Okay. So last but not least, I want to be able to, again, respect my time. Okay. I want to transition to a couple of nuggets that I believe will help you guys close bigger orders with customers to wrap this whole thing up. So I have 2 things that I feel like that I've implemented this year that have been, and something that I've been implementing for years that I believe is something that can help everybody increase their average order and also help everybody increase their closing ratio to their new customers. Okay. So first things first, shout out to my girlfriend, Colleen Dolan, and AKA shout out through Josh Muller for, again, basically these tips. I was working an event with Colleen and she was doing a super awesome time, or super great time. She was selling a ton of big sets at an event that we were at. She outsold me. It was incredible. She kicked my absolute butt that week, but she was doing it in a way where she was positioning sets in a way that I was like, I don't understand how you're getting so much buy-in to whatever set that they're selling. Because something that I noticed I was doing, which is something that I was recognizing, that I felt like I was bulldozing people into the ultimate. I felt like I was like, ultimates. I got to show it first. I got to make it badass. I got to make sure everybody like knows that they want it. Blah, 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 blah. But what I forgot about is our job is all about asking permission. Okay. So this is some verbiage that you can use that I believe will help you position the sets in a way that is not overwhelming. It also allows you to actually sell the ultimate with an unlimited amount of time, which is a huge thing when you're selling anything at a booth. Okay. So shout out to Coco, shout out to Josh for this. Okay. So Mrs. Jones, this is when you're positioning the 3 sets. So we have 3 main sets. We have a basic set for people who don't do a lot of cooking, right? Or they don't have a big budget for a lot of knives, right? We have a family set, right? Our family set has everything that the basic set has, plus a few add-ons that we find that people really need when they're doing their family cooking. Okay. And then we also have our complete set. Now I'm just curious, do you guys by chance do a lot of grilling or barbecuing? Oh, you do. Awesome. Well, you're probably actually going to like this set then, because it actually comes with what I call as our carnivore tools or our meat knives. So if you'd like, what I can do is I can show you what comes in this set, and then you can tell me if you think that you'd even use it or if one of the smaller sets would work. Now, the beautiful thing about the phrase is that by asking meat or if they grill or barbecue, what do 90% of people say? Yeah, I do, right? Especially in Texas and Oklahoma. Rock on, TGP, right? Okay, so then you go through your 6 knives. You guys know how to sell the 6 knives in the ultimate set. So when you think about the set that you're going to have for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, do you think you're going to get more value out of something basic, something more family, or something more complete? Okay. So what's a beautiful thing about this, guys, is that you actually get to sell the ultimate and they're not feeling pressured on like, oh, of course the salesperson is just trying to sell me the biggest set, right? Of course they are trying to do that. Even though I want those pieces, of course, the customer's feeling like, well, yeah, of course they want me to buy the biggest set. It's the biggest set that they sell. Of course, they're going to make the most commission on this. I love this phrasing because it allows you to position the set. And if they don't grill or barbecue, it allows you to show the smaller sets, but it still allows you to show the smaller sets because you're listening to the customer. But 90% of the time, you're still selling an ultimate and you're still pitching the ultimate, right? I was hearing Colleen do this and I was like, it is unbelievable. Every person she talks to is just like, yeah, probably the complete set. And she hadn't even talked about it yet, right? And then she talks about it and what do you know? She would sell a complete set, right? So last things last, okay, to wrap this whole thing up, okay? I believe that the best way to be able to sell more without having to give the boat is by using a phrase at the end of the demo when you're tying it all together to ask if they're interested in buying without giving them any free stuff. Okay, so I've used this before. I think it's worth saying again, simply because it's something that I use to just really work my way into getting buy-in on if they're actually interested in what package I'm talking about right away. Okay, so what we go is we go through the basic confirmation questions. Cool. So between the basic set, the family set, the complete set for you guys based on pricing, now that you know the pricing, which size set do you feel like would be the best set? They pick the set. Okay, cool. Now, do you like the classic handles, pearl handles, blah, 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 block color? Okay, do you guys like the idea of splitting it? Do you like the idea of just paying for it? So I have the card, rip the Band-Aid off, whatever they say. Okay. After that all comes together, right? And I'll just re-emphasize the 15-day trial period just as a reminder. You get the opportunity to try out the knives for 3 weeks. Make sure you love them. If for some reason you don't, send them back and take care of the shipping both ways. Okay. So it just reaffirms their ability to make a decision today instead of later. Then I'll use this line. Okay, cool, Mrs. Jones. So since you're here, if I was able to do something a little extra special for you on top of the Cutco corporate discount that they give you when you buy it as a set, would you maybe be open to just doing this thing right now? So, okay, cool, Mrs. Jones, since you're here, if I was able to do something just a little extra special for you on top of the Cutco corporate discount that they give you when you buy it as a set, would you maybe be open to just doing this thing right now? right? Again, remember, how many things have we offered for free? Absolutely nothing, right? If they're saying, yeah, maybe, you'd be surprised that a cutting board, a sharpener, and 2 kitchen gadgets on an ultimate will close most people, right? You all know based on previous talks now on how to sell the 3 cutting boards and the sharpener. So I'm not going to do that for the sake of time, right? So ask yourself, how can I do things, right, to help create want and interest and buy-in without actually having to give something for free right away? You don't have to give the boat. Now, sometimes you got to give the boat. That's all right. Welcome to sales, right? But remember, when you offer it in a way where you're actually not giving anything for free yet, and then you talk about the things that Cutco are literally already including in the set, it's just extra added value that they didn't have when they already want the set. Okay. So what I love about this is it just gives you the opportunity to have more wiggle room. It also allows you to figure out if you're actually on the right package, because they're like, no, I think we got to think about it. You're like, cool, probably on the wrong package. So it allows me to drop down in a way that I can actually get to the set that they're actually excited about the first time. Okay. So with that, I'm done for the sake of time. Brian, I think that's all I have for you. But I think
that is no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hang on with us here for just 1 minute. That was so fire. I have so many notes and so many lines and so many thoughts that were packed into that amazingly brief window of time. How do you cover so much so quickly? But we do want to spend just like 5 minutes here on a little bit of quick Q&A. So guys, we probably won't get to everyone's question in the chat. If you can let us know you have a question. Bert, I think for my part, I just wanted to ask, like, how do you sort of hold yourself accountable on something that's so fundamental as like that new customer? You touched on this a little bit in your message, but you said like, you got to check yourself from just saying words that you're just saying that really aren't having any bearing on your scripts or approaches. And that kind of hit me. Like, I think holding yourself accountable to something that you know, or you think how do you kind of check yourself in the moment to make sure you're not just going through the motions with your customers? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I think that's something that, especially when the days get long and the sales add up, it's easy to just go through the motions. And I'm curious, how do you stay self-aware to where you're giving your best every time?
I really just think it comes down to standards, right? So it's like, I take my job extremely seriously. And it was one of those things where I had a customer the other day that I closed the 5-piece on, and I gave him a deal on it, but it was just the most chaotic interaction that I've experienced in a long time. And I closed him, and I was like, I am so effing good at what I do, simply because I've been so intentional with being like putting my ego on the shelf so many times over the last 3 years, and just being like, yeah, I'm not that good. Like, I think I'm really good, but then I hear some messages and I hear people that have extremely high average orders in comparison to me, and I'm like, I'm just not as good as I think I am, right? So like, how can you be aware of like, so again, so it's a great question, Brian. So it's not as easy as, again, just like be aware. So it's like, how can you be intentional about looking at the customer and noticing how your words are coming across? If you're getting a lot of puzzled looks, if you're getting a lot of people like, whoa, wait, say that again. You're probably talking too fast, right? You're probably actually not actually saying the words that you think you're saying, right? I think that in a perfect world, we're able to sell everything, right? And we're able to do all of the things, right? But I really think it all comes down to just a standard of, hey, I know that I have room for improvement. So every time I'm doing a new customer pitch, I'm looking for areas of opportunity that are things that I say that I'm like, that landed really well, right? So I make notes of like, cool, I think that this, like, so I have this laundry list of a note of new customer script. Like, it's just this whole thing, right? Of just new customer script ideas, when to put it, when to take it out, when to put the different things in. And it's just like this master list of just like, that was really good, or that was actually really bad, right? And I noticed specifically like the penny thing, right? I was like, Jesus Christ, it was incredible how different the reaction was to people wanting to buy Cutco at the end with the penny. I was like, God. And that was like the aha moment that happened at the end of 2021 during the State Fair of Minnesota, where I was like, that's wild, right? And so to try to put it as simply as I can to try to give the best answer that I possibly can for this, is just like, ask yourself where your standards are and just be open to like recording yourself and listening to yourself. So record yourself when you're on your own time, but also record yourself while you're with a customer, Like that's the easiest way to do it. Throw yourself on a voice memo, throw your cutting or throw your phone underneath a big cutting board and just listen to yourself. And then listen to yourself and also recognize that you're probably not going to like what you hear. And that's all right.
That's the realness right there. That's the realest thing ever. All right, Jess, you have a question for Bert. Hit us, brother.
Yeah, man. Just quick question. You said cut leather as soon as possible. How much of the intro are you doing when you're cutting leather before you cut leather?
Yep. So basically, I just go right through what I talked about earlier, which is, do you like buying high quality American made products? Awesome. Who does most of the cooking? Cool. This is your wheelhouse, or this is her wheelhouse. If they're together, whatever it is. If it's not their wheelhouse, it's like, cool. Will this be something that you considered if you really like the quality? Would you consider, again, giving this to them as a gift? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, maybe. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, can I show you how sharp they are? Bam. And then I do power, or just do the basic intro of Cucco with the double D edge and who I am, and then you're rolling.
Boom. I love it. All right, guys, let's do one last quick question from Marissa Maybear, Barnyard. Now that's
gonna
sorry.
Catch now, Brian. That's totally gonna catch on now.
I feel terrible. I feel so bad. But Marissa, take us home with a great question for Bert.
I'll just have to get a cowgirl hat, be part of my brand now. But my question was, you really I feel like you hit this really quick, so I'd like you to expand it. And I've actually kind of had this epiphany of like, we need to do more to generate pain, right? Like you were talking about, to get, because we do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure every day of the week as human nature. So you asked those questions really quick. So can you expand a little bit on some of those questions and how you flow into them, or if they're not really getting into it, they're kind of standoffish, but how you get more conversation going on that first to really hit it before you drive in to the solutions?
Yeah, it's a great question. So again, I think it's just, remember, like the core question is, again, like simply like asking what their like current brand is and asking what their current situation is. And if they're kind of standoffish, it's like, cool, like you need to let me know, Mrs. Jones, why the hell you're in front of me. Right? That's the essence of the goal, right? Which is like, okay, cool. So like, what's the problem with the pans? Or what's the problem with the knives? Or why do you hate your flatware? Or why is your ice cream scoop pissing you off? Right? Whatever it is, it's like, that's the goal, is to get that out of them. Right? So it's like, cool. So like, I'm just very open with them. I'm like, cool. So like, what's the problem with the knives right now? Or what are you frustrated with? Or why are you in front of me? Right? It's like, hey, why is this something that you're like feeling like you maybe need to improve it? Right? I had a guy earlier today that was like, yeah, I'm familiar with knives not staying sharp. I'm like, cool. You're really going to like these then. Right? And then just asking those questions, I'm just being curious of like, cool. So again, painting that picture, right? Of like, yeah, it must be frustrating when you try to cut a tomato, it just creates salsa or just smashes, or it must be frustrating when you try to cut a pepper, your knife just slips off the pepper, right? Just think about the little common things that when you put yourself in an Airbnb with shitty knives, think about all of those frustrating experiences. Like think about the time we were in Colorado for Luciano's birthday, cooking eggs in that effing skillet was god awful. Took me like 18 minutes to cook 10 eggs. I was like, God, this is such a beautiful experience to have, because I'm putting myself into my customers' kitchens right now on how frustrating this is. Right. So again, asking those questions, and remember, like, you're a human, they're a human. So just be friendly, right? Sell some jokes. Right? Yeah, we're cutting deals. Right. You tell me to put a lid on it, put a freaking lid on a pot, right? Little things like that, right? That are just kind of like, all right, this person that's across this table from me with kitchen products is kind of a funny dude. Right. And probably a good person to talk to and hang out with for like the next 5 to 10 minutes, even if I don't buy something. And then just bringing it together, which is just like, hey, cool, what do you have right now? Figuring that out, like actually figuring out if it's just a mismatch of whatever. Right. And just trying to just really dig into just being curious. Again, the best thing I can tell you, Marissa, and this is for everybody, right? Just be curious. You don't know what their situation is. And the only way you're going to know about their situation is just being like, open to just learning from that customer on what's going on in their kitchen. I'd just be curious.
Being curious and asking better questions to learn their situation. I think being curious, that should be the theme of this call. I love it. Bert, that was fire. That was amazing. I can't wait to go back and listen to the recording of this because once wasn't good enough. So thank you, brother. We appreciate you. We love you. And, hope you get good rest tonight after delivering such a fire message. All right.